Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Even though my intention is not warlike in this message, it is corrective, and I understand that some may think that I mean some kind of harm. So you may feel that the peace greeting was inappropriate, although I didn't mean any harm in this message, but I do intend to be corrective. You see in the title, yes, this is an attempt to correct CJ NBM. You uploaded something about men's real issue with women, or the real reason that men have issues with women. And apparently you have uploaded something since then. And let's see what it's entitled about. See what it's entitled. I think you may have uploaded this just in the last few minutes. Well, I don't find it. Never mind. But you did upload the one I just mentioned. And I can say this about the one I mentioned. Oh, you sound like a woman. Is this you? Is that one you uploaded, sir? With this blue pill stuff? Okay, see, this might take a hostile tone now, even if I don't want it to. Don't point your finger at men. There's only one thing for which to correct men. And this goes for men in general. The one thing for which we need correction, sir, is that we have made this too mucking easy. That's where we men have been wrong. Shooting our shots as easily as we've been doing is the problem. Nothing else. Now, you can sit up and say that we need to go and get on Facebook and find the chicks from high school that are fine, that are still fine and single and childless. But I can tell you that because of the fact that men have been shooting the shots too mucking much, even if it's a few men that have been doing it, that means that in today's time and in our ages post high school, what that translates into is we're not going to go and find a good looking woman and she's single and she's childless. And if she is, she ain't on social media. Now, if she's got all this and she's on social media, she's got an attitude up the wazoo because she's getting hit on. You said, what's going to happen if you do it? I can tell you, everyone else is going to do it. That's what's going to happen. Her head's going to blow right the fuck where it was before. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret, CJ NBM. I'm nice to look at as far as women are concerned. Now, I don't show my face and I don't put my real name on this. And that's part of why I don't go talking trash. Even if I disagree with someone like I disagree with you, I would never just talk trash. One, you don't deserve it. And two, I'm not going to show my face and put my name on. So it would not be, it would be hypocritical if I talk trash and then I'm not going to publicize my identity. My goal is to put the message out there and ruin Western women's chances to be vain, still find somebody, and not lose a dime of income for it. But more importantly, to not have my family lose any comfort behind this. I'm here to flip the table over, pull the covers off of the conspiracy, and have my family be just as comfortable otherwise. So no, I'm not going to expose myself. But I am going to expose their plans. And right now, what you're saying, even though you don't mean for it to be the case, is making their plans very convenient, making it very convenient for those who don't even respect you, let alone like you, sir, or me for that matter. See, if women have liked looking at me before, I'm telling you that, sir, because they have all been on the same conspiracy to make sure that I never knew that. They've all been in on the same conspiracy to make sure that you never knew how many actually liked looking at you, however many they were, whether it was many or a few, you would not know. The things that we have that do work in our favor are the same things they have taught us to underestimate the extent to which they work in our favor, except for celebrity, money, social status. They can't really hide their obsessions with these things. And also, if you pull out a Subway sandwich when it's time to get busy, well, they can't hide that. It's too valuable and they just can't do much to hide. Even then they try when they get mad. That, you little ding-a-ling mother. And, you know, by that point, you already know what you're working with. Kendra D done gave up the game. She done sat up and told us that they sit up and play keep away with things that even they would rather share and like sharing simply because we might like them. They may know how to cook and just refuse to do it because we might like that. She said the first thing that comes to many women's minds with which to play keep away is dim draws, because even though they like bumping uglies, we might like that, so they're going to make sure that, they play keep away with it. Sir, that's malice. Crimson Cure has set up and told us that they're making decisions about how to deal with us based on malice. And you're sitting up and saying that we need to do more of what we've already done that allowed them to come up with these ideas, shoot more shots. More of us shoot shots, more of them get opportunities, more of them, while they're sitting up teaching us that we are less valuable than what we are and even less attractive than what we are. You're saying for us to keep giving them the confidence to demand so much in exchange for so little. They already have enough of that. And you're saying, validate them some more, validate them some more. Newsflash, NBM. Cold approaches work they fail 87% of the time, and they work maybe 13%. And you're saying, do more of what's failed you already. Now, NBM, whatever your job is, if you failed 87% of the time, you wouldn't have it. If I failed 87% of the time at my job, if 87% of my students made a conscious effort to fail and came up with a conspiracy to fail at a rate of 87%, I would have to prove that they all planned that in order to keep my job, sir. I've actually had students back in the United States, middle school students, tell me that they were going to do that so that the system would have to pass all of them and I would look bad and lose my job because they ain't going to do the work and study. I've had them look me in the face and say that. So even if it ain't your fault, you can lose your job. And you're going to sit up and tell men to do something that fails 87% of the time. Just do more of it. It's going to fail the same 87%. You said, what can happen? Well, I just told you. But see, you want to sit up and say that men need to have more relationships before they can tell you. No, sir. You see, if men find that something fails, they should talk about what fails. Let's catalog that stuff in the first place, because frankly, sir, you're still telling men to reverse pimp themselves out to women. You might as well be a dating dating coach. What men should do in the West is to work on their situations and their lives as best they possibly can for their own comfort. Then, when they're ready to share it with someone, they go somewhere where the women are traditional and find them a young, hot cutie and offer to share this with her in exchange for her making it easier to keep the things that he has labored to acquire. So as to maximize their potential. Sure, that's fine. But sit up there, bust their butt, try to become, valuable enough to where she's going to give you a chance. And then offer to share with some lady who is very likely to cheat on you with a man that didn't do any of these things to acquire these things for himself to share with her. Well, you're pretty much on their side in a war against your own. Even if you didn't mean to be, even if you didn't know that's what you were doing. If you didn't know, you didn't know, but now I'm telling you. Because frankly, sir, these talking points of the manosphere that you think are so new and so outrageous and blasphemous against culture and tradition and the way things have always been, these arguments older than you think they are, at least 15 years, some of them, at least a decade others. But let me tell you this conspiracy in which Western women have been on to get men to undervalue and underestimate ourselves and our market value, it's 30 years old. It's been going on since at least 1989. That's when I saw it. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what kind of trick and conspiracy it was and what kind of mass deception it was until I left the United States a little under 7 years ago. But they've been doing this at least in my direct observation since then, and probably before, because my dad told me something similar. Now that would mean that it's been going on 60 years. How long have people been around, and how long have we had spoken language? If you ask me, it's been since whenever we were created. But the point is that since human beings have had spoken language, women have been sitting up and trying to deceive men, and they already don't like 85% of the men they see. Then they wanted to see the 15% so that we underestimate and undervalue ourselves. For what purpose? exactly what they have right now, a situation that's too good for them that they would never tolerate being half as good for us. And you're sitting up and saying that maybe we should just go ahead and keep trying, try harder even, shoot more shots. No, bruv, we should shoot shots in other environments. Nothing has worked and gotten the same results as men not shooting their shots, sir. Everything else has, we've paid dearly for it. They may complain about different things like the men don't know how to dress, the men don't know how to woo them, the men don't know how to attract them, like we can read their minds. They've been making sure we don't know what they want in the first place just so they can complain. But then when men stopped approaching them, that's when we saw something different. They began to have meltdowns, recording their own meltdowns and cursing or fussing or correcting each other for being too difficult, so that now none of them even gets an attempt. Yeah, that was my Dr. Evil laugh impersonation. I'm not really good at it, but the point is that that's really what's worked. Exactly what you would say is men punking out and selling out. Oh, that's worked. That's gotten a result. And you got young men sitting up saying, why should we approach them? Now, you think that young men have too much testosterone to be able to just not approach them. And what these young men are saying pretty much is, if we're not going to succeed, we're not going to try. Now, that sounds very blasphemous. It sounds unrealistic. But when it comes to somebody else having free will and the outcome depending upon their and your free will agreeing, they are very right to say, if it ain't gonna work, we ain't gonna try. Because what they're really saying is, if they're not on board, we're not going to approach them with it. What's wrong with that? Why would you have a problem with men not doing what's failing so much and then doing exactly what gets more results than anything else? Not trying. And then taking the efforts somewhere else. What's wrong with that? If you're on our side in this war, and it's a gender war, so believe that if you're on our side, there'd be nothing wrong with it. Stop and think about an army that doesn't like itself very much. But they're willing to keep things from you simply because knowing these things might make things too comfortable for you. That means that their hatred of you is greater than their hatred of each other. We hear about how women hate each other. In the West, they hate you even more, so they hate you more. And you're saying, keep trying, shoot more shots? And fit the guck out our face with that show bit. I'm not saying this out of hatred, but you got to be corrected for this. I'm not going to sit up and say, well, you a young buck, so you don't know, but I am older than you, so I've had more time to learn this stuff. And there have been other guys that are older than you have had more time to learn it. And so we're telling you, sir, that these talking points are older than even I thought they were when I first learned them. So, no, we don't need to make more approaches and more effort. We need to stop trying. Nothing else works. Oh, my goodness. Everything else fails. But when we quit trying, on top of shooting our shots in other areas of the world, whoo, man, they will travel to those parts of the world to argue with you on the beach. Don't believe me? You get a chance to ask Charles Tyler one day, I guess. I mean, you can't ask him now and he answer you, but, you know, there are people who have seen that happen. They know what I'm talking about. You can ask them. Did that work? Because, see, men have done many things, but when men started going to Rio, there was an American sister on the beach there ready to argue with him, and it was recorded. That tells you something. Never mind that they've been going down to Jamaica for the longest and renting rosters to get the backs blown out, when they could have gotten that done in the States. Never mind any of that stuff. You offended them, I offended them, we offended them when we took whatever we had that they said wasn't enough anyway somewhere else and started shooting our shots at them to the point that they were on beaches in other countries ready to argue with African American men that were down there enjoying themselves. And they got somebody like you said to be ready to fight for them. We already know, sir, what would happen, and we know why it would happen, and we know why we shouldn't have to do these things. That's why. I hope this helps, because I really hope that you get more options than what any of us have ever had. But right now, these young cats younger than you are making a sacrifice by not even trying to approach these women so that maybe other guys would have better options. And you know, these guys that are not approaching, they're young cats. Their testosterone levels should be so high, but their testosterone levels have actually lowered. And I'm pretty sure that it has to do with conscious knowledge that they have. Me Too and everything else has taught them a lesson. They know before they hit puberty that they don't need all this testosterone in the environment. So the brain adjusts the pituitary gland with the new knowledge, and the pituitary gland then signals the body to produce less testosterone because they ain't gonna need it. Can't satisfy it no way. Because women ain't doing nothing but going down from liking 15% of the men that they see to liking even fewer. And remember, Book of Alpharonomy put out a video, sir. It's a recent upload. I think I put it in the community tab. I think I shared it in mine. And in there, a lady sits up and tells you that they don't like being cold approached. Now, they like the attention, the validation. She likes the compliment. She'll thank you for that. But they don't actually want to be cold approached because they don't like the men that do it. And you sitting up saying, shoot your shot. Slide in their DMs if you see that they're single and childless. If they're single and childless, then they already know. As a matter of fact, they refuse to be single and childless past a certain age. They're just like, no, I'm just not going to do that. That's too easy for the guy. Absolutely not. They're sitting up here making their minds up. The reason why it's difficult for the men is because the lady set up and said, we're not going to allow it to be even of a medium level of difficulty and ease. No, it's got to be difficult. He's got to be Superman, and we're going to come along as Lois Lane in a wheelchair. It's not by accident, sir. It's by design that it's as difficult as it is. It's by design that you got to do as much as you got to do to get as little as you're going to get in exchange. And they're all in on it. And when I say all, I mean, they ain't but two types, really. Now there are three, but the previous two types that have been around, sir, have been the ones that were actively in on this and the ones who knew the game and fucked the shuck up. You only recently had some like Pink Book Lessons, Red Femme Diaries, and Crimson Cure, and Jessica X telling the game and pulling the wool off, pulling the covers off. You've only recently had some like that. Now, I mean, they may have existed decades before, but that, if you think that any of this red pill stuff is a new phenomena, they're new, relatively speaking. Now, how about that? Before that, pretty much silence or contribution by commission. Those were the options. Either a woman was silent, wouldn't say anything at all, or she was in on it and would lie to your butt. I hope this helps, man. Thanks for listening. Now you know why I say black heart, black mind, black out, and black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Don't approach her, don't validate her, ditch the witch. Till next time.